Welcome to my podcast, which is all about changing your business and money reality. This is your master money coach, Dr. Gaurav Deka, and you are money. Hello, my friends. How have you been? I know I'm a bit sing-songy also because, well, I'm trying to cope with the winter, and it has only increased in the last 1 week or so. And therefore, I try to complete all my work during the daytime so that during evenings when it's really cold, I have my heaters on and then I am just like in my bed and trying to read and pull up a copy and try to write a bit, decide on my content and all of that. So I do all the mental work during evening and during night. And I also try to, go lives on Facebook, on Instagram, because that really helps me pep up, actually. So I have started this going live on Thursdays on Facebook, and I talk about the most radical topics on Facebook. For example, yesterday was Thursday. I'm recording this on a Friday. So yesterday was Thursday, and I was talking about how capitalism and neuroscience and gender and geopolitics, all of these four topics, there is an intersectionality to all of these in determining the hustle culture of being a life coach. So I know it sounds complex. If you want to listen to it, if you want to know about it and like sit down and go through that entire 1 hour of what I speak about, how these are interconnected, you can go to my Facebook group called You Are Money. The link of that is in the show notes of this podcast. And you can join my Facebook group. Everything that I give in that Facebook group is, of course, free of cost. Then I have also started going on Instagram lives regularly now, every Friday at 7 p.m. India time. And I do that with a fellow ATIPS member, ATIPS coach. And we do that because, of course, we want to talk more and more about ATIPS and how people's lives are changing there. So that happens on a Friday. And as I am recording this on a Friday, today is going to happen as well, right? So the other thing that I also found out was, I was browsing through my old classes and old videos. And then I found one of my master classes called How I Became a Millionaire. And then what I did was I decided to give it out to people for free. And so now this masterclass is available to you for free, How I Became a Millionaire. And I talk about my own journey. I talk about the steps that it takes to make money. I talk about how can you put yourself out there in the world without the fear of judgments, without the fear of people speaking whatever they want to speak about you, without the disturbing thoughts of, how do I get there? How do I start signing up clients? How do I make all that money? So I also give you the steps. I also give you like a skeletal framework, and it can be really, really life-changing in just a matter of 40 minutes. So go ahead to my Instagram, go to the link in my bio, and you will find access to this masterclass right at the very top of that Linktree link. Okay, so do that. These were the updates for the last 1 week. So today I wanted to talk about something that I had sent out as an email to many of my friends. I run an email coaching newsletter. It's called You Are Money, just like all other forums. Like my Facebook group is called You Are Money. This podcast is called You Are Money. Then my email Substack newsletter is called You Are Money. And of course, you can subscribe to it by going to my Instagram link in bio and subscribe for it. I literally give you gold there. And today, in today's podcast, I wanted to read out and discuss a recent email that I had sent out to my subscribers there. And it was about the imperatives the essentials that you need in order to become a paid life coach. So, back in medical school, when I absolutely didn't want to go to classes and wondered if I keep missing them, will I ever graduate? So at that point of time, I had to get a little ingenious. You see, when you are young and you are out as a queer boy, you have already had your fair share of combat with shame. You already know that you will not fit into any form of societal structures or heteronormative ideas of family. And that kind of practice and conditioning slips and spills into all areas of your life, including how you think you must make money, in contrast to how the straight world, the masculine world, or the academic world thinks you must make money or not make it at all. Because our parents used to say, oh, if you just graduate and then touch money, it's going to make you corrupt. So before you do your masters, no money touching, no, joining random jobs, no going into business because it'll like corrupt you, make you evil, make you businessy, and make you desperate for money, right? So I still remember, my father being furious when one of our cousins, after having graduated with a BTech, went ahead and opened an electric appliance shop. And Papa felt it was blasphemy at its peak. Like, how could someone, just for the love of money, go and open a shop after having graduated in electronic engineering? It was unacceptable. To think like a businessman and to open your brain to things like marketing, selling, and entrepreneurship was seen as the most dishonorable, degradable choice one could make. So, right from the very beginning, I was primed to walk on a path that helped me maintain and preserve the false honor of being in a respectable profession. So, my question is, what, after all, is a respectable profession? I mean, isn't it ridiculous that jobs where we end up killing our souls and creativity, we stick to them because they are considered respectable by the rest of the world? It's almost like being in an abusive marriage where we continue to stay because divorce is a disgraceful, ignominious act, or continuing to stay connected to a bunch of friends or acquaintances who are toxic just to maintain some kind of social stature. I see this all the time with coaches, as well as when they are so scared of writing something and putting it out on the social media for the fear of being called out and shamed. My question is, if those people call you out and shame you for who you are, why would you anyway want to have them in your world? Your social media is an extension of your world and your unconscious mind. Why would you want garbage to inhabit that sacred space? And pardon my digression, let me go back to my ingenuity. So, given the nature of the mindset of my father, back then, I didn't tell anyone about what I was going to do. So, right after college, I would go to the nearby multiplex. We had just one come up back then in Guwahati. So, I would go to that multiplex and I would go there with my deck of tarot cards. And I told one of my friends from outside college, he was a fashion designer, to put up a small table for me. And I would stand there and move around asking people coming out of the multiplex if they would really like a tarot reading with me. Now, you have to understand that it's Guwahati I'm talking about. And we are talking about a time around 15 years back, and not many people knew what on earth were tarot cards. Some of them must have thought of me as some mad magician, and some others thought that I was some kind of creep. And I saw the expressions on their faces. I saw the contempt and the frustration, but I kept making my offer and kept looking for faces that would light up seeing the box of cards in my hands. After trying for 3 days straight and receiving God only knows how many no's, I found my first client. She just wanted to know what career path she should choose and if she should dump her current boyfriend, because apparently there was another man in the picture. I was thrilled. I was jumping because I had made rupees 300 from that reading, and I cannot tell you how my heart exploded. So I went there consecutively for 2 months, and my evening started looking brighter. That was one thing that brought me out of my depression instantly for 2 to 3 hours. I'd go home and continue to tell myself that I have something to fall back on. I have something for which people are willing to pay me. I have something via which I can now have a livelihood. I have something that I enjoy. I remember in my last year of medicine, before I left to a small town for my internship, the only thing that kept me going was once I finished this bloody damn degree, I get to read tarot cards and make money. How cool is that? That was the reason for life. In fact, even during my internship, when on weekends I would come back home, people would call me and come down to get readings done by me. By then, I had already built up a database of around 50 people. And Saturdays and Sundays, I would make somewhere between rupees 2,000 to 3,000. And boy, can you imagine the exhilaration, the fun, the lightness of being. I still remember putting up my designation as a healer in my new Facebook profile, and a mentor back then, immediately commented, people may not take you seriously, Gaurav, if you call yourself that, like a healer. You're a medical doctor, behave like one. And I remember feeling small, but not letting those words wrong myself for what I desired. And that's the thing with shame. It is imperative to recognize shame as an invasion so that we can pull it out of our bodies as some disgusting goo that comes from people's mouths and brains and shove it back in. So, this was the beginning of my journey of liberation, I would say. The fact that I'm a powerful coach today, making $1 million with my business, is based on the single choice of what brings me the greatest joy and why will I pursue it even when other people call it plebeian and create class division in our minds by shaming us. Yesterday, I put up a post on Instagram mentioning a list of things that you don't need in order to become a paid life coach or a healer. So if you guys haven't checked out my Instagram profile yet, please go there and see that, see the amount and the quality of content that I put in there. Right? It's like, a mini version of 8 tips. And it's at Dr. Gaurav Deka. But in this episode, I'm going to give you a list of imperatives, essentials that you need in order to become a paid life coach or a healer. Number one, the power to recognize your desire. For example, I was willing to read tarot cards at the multiplex, being a medical school student, lying to my family, and hearing friends and mentors mocking me for what I loved. I was willing to do that. The fact that I still wanted to do it tells me that that exactly was my superpower, my willingness. Number two, not waiting for an approval, but going headlong into it. No one taught me to read tarot back then. Today, I use a completely different set of skills to coach my clients, who are other coaches. But back then, I relied on my own mind and my own intelligence to acknowledge that whatever I have and I do is enough. This is all my current clients need. I just have to be honest about my desire to pursue it. Number three, making offers and being ready to receive no's. For me, my focus was getting that face, lit up. The people I met. I had already faced so many rejections as a student, ridiculed by people for my depression or my femininity. I was already in a way numbed out. So here it was all about play. I just wanted to play with those people who came out of the multiplex, right? And I told my mind that let me just play around and see what happens. My energy was that of curiosity instead of fear and disappointment. And I was ready to invite rejection because that was already a part and parcel of my life. So I was out there making offers and completely willing and ready to receive as many no's that I got. Number four, giving people 100% of what I had. The girl who got the reading from me not only called me up the next week, but also told two of her friends who would like to try me out. This was the result of me giving everything I had in that one single reading. I was outside a multiplex. There were hordes of people roaming around. There was, noise of vehicles and chatter. There could also be a relative who would see me doing weird stuff. I just did not let those become my distractions. When I read, and when I read back then, I went into a state of ecstasy and trance. This is what happens when I'm actually coaching people. It was so fulfilling that nothing in the world could take away my attention from it, which is also the reason why I love coaching. And I coach nonstop for 3 hours. Sometimes, I cross 3 hours inside ATIPS because I love it. I loved doing it so much, and I was drunk on the high of it. That is the reason I could give my 100%. And number 5, be willing to have fun and ask people if they would like it too. I know so many of you would bring up reasons like, I am not certified. I don't know XYZ modality or XYZ technique. I don't have enough audience size. I don't know people and blah, blah, blah. You can either choose to believe in these reasons and you can tap into the energy of my 17-year-old depressed vagabond self. I had nothing to lose simply because I had already lost everything. Now I just wanted to do whatever brought me little joy. There were options like alcohol or meth or heroin. And there were options like reading tarot card for strangers outside a multiplex, setting up a small table. And I chose the latter. And that brought me joy. And because it did, I was willing to offer what I could provide them. It's not that I was an expert, but I went to each of them and asked them, would you like a reading? Do you have unanswered questions? Are you struggling with anything? May I help? That's it. And if you apply these 5 points, nothing today can stop you from signing up your first client, or maybe if you already are a practicing coach, nothing should stop you from having a fully booked calendar. So here is the secret of being a paid life coach. I really hope you enjoyed this episode, and I really hope you apply all of these points. And I'm going to speak to you next week. So till then, you take care and have lots and lots and lots of fun. Bye-bye. If you enjoyed listening to this podcast and are willing to change your business and money reality, head to my free coaching community on Facebook called You Are Money. Link is in the show notes. And do not forget to leave a review on Spotify.com or Apple Podcast. Thank you so much.